Today's episode, the guys tell their NFL stories about the greatest pass rushers they ever played against, played with as teammates, or grew up with.
My idol. You know, I got if I didn't name this guy, all my homeboys would probably go off on it.
I know you're gonna say.
You know, but I have to go with the meanest dude in NFL history, and by the name of Charles Haley.
Haley.
The legendary Charles. I'll never forget, man. I mean, growing up, man, that dude used to terrorize all of us. As you know, he was, we were like, I was like in grade school when he was in high school. When he used to get on the bus, man. I mean, and the thing about it, the Charles, he won't, because we were younger. He wouldn't try to physically beat us, but he would beat us. We were scared of him because he was so darn funny. He would crack jokes on us. I'll never forget it. He was cool. He was always cool with me, thank God. But my best friend, man, he got the brunt of Charles Haley, man. I remember I'll never forget, man, because my buddy's mom used to date a dude, and he was a little handicapped, right? He was a little. And Charles would get on the bus and say, "Hey, Barry, your mama go out with a crooked-legged man." And the whole bus was go crazy, and it was like. But the thing is, man, Charles was a bully of bullies, man. He used to. But the thing about it, he would go and he would find the biggest dude and the baddest dude, and he would go after him. Like he would pick on him like he didn't care who you were. But he wound up being a great mentor of mine. When I got into the NFL, he invited me to his home and gave me a lot of pointers. He had Ronnie Lott look out for me when he was at the Jets. And but it's funny, man, because when we was at UW, we had Dennis Brown who went to San Francisco. When he came back to Seattle, he said, "Hey Don, man, what's wrong with your boy Charles Haley? He's crazy, man." I was like, "Man, that's the way he is. He ain't crazy. That's the way he is, man. He's always been that way. He's been that way ever since we were kids. It ain't nothing changed. He didn't change. People act like he changed when he went to the NFL. No, he been that way ever since he was ever since he was school, man. But he's always been the guy I would look up to. Heck, man, me and my dad used to listen to his games when he was at James Madison on weekends. We were on the radio. We would just listen to him on the radio, and I always see how he'd always be dominating when he was at James Madison University. And it was great. We were all proud of him because of the guy that played at that level, coming from a town of about 1,000 people. I mean, we had only 300 something people at our high school, and just think about a guy that from that small tobacco town to be as great as he was. That's something we were all, as for me coming up, that I was able to see that it could be done, even coming from a small town. You can make it to the NFL, and that's all because of Charles Haley. So shout out to Charles Haley.
I do not like Bruce Smith. I'm going to just go on record and say that. And Bruce, if I see you in the street, I'm going to get some of my friends to come help me because I learned that you don't fight Bruce Smith. One more story I'll share is this. We were playing Buffalo, and Bruce Smith, I think the previous year had an injury to his left knee. And that whole week, the coaches were saying, "Greg, you have no release opportunities today," which means if all the guys you're supposed to pass block aren't coming, you release it to the flat or flare, whatever. He says, once you check all your guys, you go help the tackle block Bruce Smith. That's your assignment today. So I wasn't getting out in any routes. So after he would just ragdoll our tackle and throw him out the way, I mean, literally every play he would come off, throw the tackle out the way, and it was me and him. Now, if he just threw a 300 and some pound man out the way, what am I going to do? So I would cut it. I was cut blocking him, and he was real tentative and sensitive about his knee because he had that injury a little bit before. So I cut him, and it was legal. I wasn't chopping him when he was engaged with anybody. And I wasn't going at the knee. I was hitting him just above the thigh where you're supposed to cut people. And I cut him about 2 or 3 times. So about the 3rd time, he said, "Hey, number 20. And he didn't even know who I was. I was insignificant. He said, "You bet not cut me again." And I just laughed. I was like, "What you want me to do? You just ragged all the tackle. You getting cut today, man. Ginsu." And so I went back to the huddle. And then a few plays later, I ended up cutting him again. I knew he was going to do something. because I saw him trying to get up real fast. So I jumped my butt up and I ran to our huddle and got in the huddle. Bruce Smith got up and walked into our huddle. And I'm going to tell you, all these tough guys, I'm going to call some guys out like Keith Karts, and Lanier and Dave Waddell. All those guys parted like the Red Sea and let Bruce Smith walk right in my huddle. And Bruce put his hand in my face, and I had the low bar face mask, and his hand hit me right here. He said, "Look, number 20." And I was like, "Man, get your hand out and I could not move his arm. I was trying to like this right in my forehead. And I'm looking, my teammates was all to the side. He said, "I'm going to kick your bleep. And after the game, if I have to come out to the bus to get you." And the referees came and drug him out our huddle and left. So I'm sitting there looking at these guys like, wow, nobody had my back. And now you guys know I'm the first person to not worry. Well, I'll fight anybody at any place in time. And that's just my mentality. Not smart, because about 4 or 5 plays later, maybe it was a quarter later, I don't remember the exact time. It's all blurred now, this many years later. We had a play where I got the handoff, but somebody had jumped off sides, a false start. So the referees, tweet, blew the whistle. Bruce did not stop, hit me around my neck, flipped me and slammed me on the ground. After the whistle, I jumped up, ran at him. Before I could get within 5 yards of him, all you saw was bang, bang, bang. He gave me a 3-piece, knocked me back down on the ground. Helmet came up. I got up, I stumbled, I looked at him, I said, "Shoot," and walked on back to the huddle. Take this 15-yard penalty. And after the game, when I went and got on the bus, since I knew nobody had my back, I was in the back of the bus, peeking out the window like, So Bruce Smith worked my tail on national television in a live football game. So I can't ever say I ain't ever been beat up, because everybody saw me get beat up by Bruce Smith. Then there's a guy, wasn't super physical to me, and I had a little bit of success getting in his way, that Chuck played with all the time, by the name of Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas out of Alabama, where he played at in college.
Alabama.
The dude,
Alabama.
ridiculous. He was a freak athlete. I think he had like 7 sacks in one game. He was your pure speed rush guy. He had a lot of moves. I just thought, he single-handedly kept us out of the playoffs one year. We played Chuck and those guys and came down to the end of the season. And I want to say it was it was 92, and they needed to win. We needed to win. And somehow our head coach forgot that Gaston Green is not a very good pass protector as a running back. And go in on pass plays and help the tackle, or if it was slide protection, block that outside guy myself. And he had started to put me in, and he said, "No, Gaston, you go in." And then he called a pass play, and I'm sitting there like, what are they doing? And Derek just came off the edge, got the trifecta, the sack, the strip, fumble, and the recovery for a touchdown.
He was good for that.
Yeah, as part of them destroying us.
Obviously, I played with this guy. I've seen him, up close. I know the type of beast he was. I've been there many a times, just backpedaling, and then you hear the crowd roar, and this dude is standing over the quarterback. Or often, just like, I heard him Greg say, getting the trifecta, the strip sack, man, like, Derek Thomas made money off of that, and Derek was a big personality. For whatever reason, man, he kind of took to me, but in the way where he was kind of just picking at me all the time. He was like, "Look, rookie, you seem like you gonna make this team, all right? So look, I don't want no mess out of you." He didn't say mess, but I need you to bring breakfast and donuts and, hey, do your job as a rookie, But the dude was mad cool, man. I remember one time I was there in Kansas City, and my girlfriend came up, and man, my car had a flat. It had a flat, and we was trying to get to the airport. And I had like a, Jeep Cherokee or whatever. And at the time, man, he had this huge Benz. Back then it seemed like it was about as long as a boat. That's what it seemed like to me. This huge Mercedes, and we was at the hotel, is the Adams Mark that all the players used to stay at, right basically across the street from the facility. And he was downstairs, and And, you know, I was sitting out there like, dang, man. He was like, hey, man, take my car, man. I got you, you know? And I was like, for real, you sure? He was like, yeah. So he gave me the keys to his car to, you know, take my girl to the airport and, you know, got my tire fixed and everything while I was gone, man. So that was crazy. You know, Derek was a big golfer. Like, you know, these dudes will tell you training camp back then, man, was training camp. Like, we had weeks and weeks of double days. And so we would be out there, you know, you'd be out there losing weight. They'd have to weigh you in it and out of practice and in practice. And I remember people cramping up and passing out, you know, so training camp was intense. But Derek would practice that first practice. That dude would go play golf. That dude would go play golf and then come back and practice the second practice like it was nothing, you know, tremendous athlete, really good dude, man.
Reggie White. He's more the defensive lineman type, but he's the second time all-time sack leader, I believe, in the history of the NFL with about 200 or somewhere close to that sacks. A guy who could play the run just as well, but he was a monster. I remember playing against Philadelphia my rookie year, I believe it was, and we went down there. Actually, I think it was my second year. And we had to play against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they were, you know, the NFC beasts, as they called the NFC East back then. And they had him, and they had another guy by the name of Jerome Brown. And I remember running a play, and Jerome Brown was in the hole, and I tried some college spin move to try to spin out of it. And man, Reggie White hit me so hard in my back that it bruised my ribs. So imagine that. And the unfortunate part about that was, the other running back that day, the other tailback on the team, was inactive due to injury. So I had to play the rest of the game with a bruised rib. And every time I got tackled, I was whimpering like a little girl.
I had to block Reggie White one day. All right. I had to essentially pass block on Reggie White. So we were playing Green Bay. We're playing Green Bay
or something.
We're playing Green Bay. Can I finish my story, Troy?
Oh, you said the pass block, so I was just trying to get a quick
we playing Green Bay one day, and we getting down to, I'm in Tampa, and at this point in time, I know a lot of times we're like, hey man, offense, they were like, we got to be aggressive. We playing this tight game. We're going to go for it. For whatever reason, they decided we had the ball like on the 49 and they decided to punt instead of going for it. So they kept, the defense out there. So I'm on the punt team on the wing and I look up and this Reggie White standing in front of me, right? And I know my assignment is to block Reggie White. And the safety is in the background like, Reg, get him, Reg. Look at him, Reg, he's scared. Get him, Reg, he's scared. I was thinking, hey man, shut your ass up, man. I was like, what are you doing right now? Let's get this dude hyped up. And I was thinking, man, what's about to happen? All I can think about, I'm about to get hump move. And, you do your 2 kick steps and you try to make contact. And I promise you, it was like I literally hit a wall. This dude took a couple of steps and I engaged with him and it was like he excused me out the way. Like he kindly just moved me to the side. It didn't even seem like it was a lot of effort. I think it was maybe it was a long drive and he may have been tired, or he just had mercy on me or something, but he just kind of moved me to the side out the way. And by that time, the punt, the way in the NFL, the snap and everything is so quick that boom, it was off before he even had a chance to get back there. But
you just had to get in his way a little bit.
I just really had to get in his way, man. But man, I was concerned